Welcome back to London Live News. Now, last week, a gunman killed 17 pupils and staff at a high school in the American state of Florida. But rather than a one-off, mass shootings in schools or universities in the country have become a worryingly common occurrence, which makes our next story all the more timely. Ballistic is a play which is inspired by the writings of a young man who carried out such an attack in 2014. It was written by Alex Packer, while Mark Conway stars in the show. Welcome both. Alex, I say you wrote it. Part of your work was adapting the writings of someone who carried out such an attack. Yeah, absolutely. A young man called Elliot Rodger, and he committed a mass shooting and released a 100,000-word manifesto charting his life, and I used that as source material, so read through that, and it provoked me into starting to write a play using some of the stories and ideas from it. And must be all the more powerful as an actor when you get source like that. You know exactly who this person was and just how terrible what they did was. Exactly, yeah. So the words that he wrote were sort of filled with all this hatred that he'd built up throughout his life. And he himself charts from being quite young all the way through and mentions quite particular moments in his life. And you sort of think, well, I went through things not too dissimilar during puberty, and some people come out the other side, and so this guy didn't, and yeah, that's a lot of weight to carry. That's interesting, because you're presented with characters who commit atrocities and think just evil, two-dimensional evil. What did you learn about him and his sort of thought process that took him to where he was through his writing? Absolutely. I think it's really easy, and we often put these monsters, we label them monsters very quickly and put them in boxes. And as you look at this story, yeah, exactly like Mark was just saying, that there is a human in there, and he wanted love, he wanted a girlfriend, he wanted popularity, a loving family, and it didn't go that way. So that's why it was really fascinating for me that it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be very one-dimensional, but looking through the story, you really do get to see a different side. There's also a sort of a sound and music added element to this production. Tell me what that brings. I think the theatricality of it allows you to just access it a little easier. There are laughs in the play that I think people aren't expecting, and it's partly to do with going on that journey and having all your senses operating, and you're ready. You're looking for the moment where you possibly dislike this guy, or a moment where you feel like he's gone one step too far. And I think if you can just get yourself in that world and get immersed in it, I think it's all for the better. It's sort of from what we were seeing on screen now, it's a sort of almost dark, futuristic, dystopian, digital world, you could say, which often people who commit these sort of carried out. Was that very much in your thinking when you were writing and crafting this? Yeah, I think so, Luke. It was really interesting just seeing the importance and the world of being online, and how a lot of these characters do get sucked into this dark world where they can be anonymous, they can say what they want, they can get sucked down rabbit holes, they can choose to go down rabbit holes. So the digital ideas with the lighting and with the sound is very much key. Our character uses computer games a lot, so we wanted to have a hint, an idea of that with the design and the feel of the whole piece. Mark, as well, this isn't, you know, it isn't just an American story. The idea of the frustrated, toxic man is in so many cultures, from terrorists to angry young men here. What do you think it says about this play, about the sort of universality of the sort of struggle of an angry young man? Exactly, yeah. Like, that's the one thing that I've always really pushed for. It's not an American problem. Yes, it seems like it because they have guns more readily available, but you're totally right. There's toxic masculinity, and I think it's possible due to underfunding in certain sectors, or teachers being stretched, or kids just slipping through the net, that these things get missed, and it can end up in like real tragedy and acts of violence and death. But it's a worldwide thing. Like, men grow up, and some grow up one way and some grow up another, and it just needs to be watched, I think, and we need to start talking about it and who has responsibility about this. Mark and Alex, fascinating, very timely subject as well. Thank you both so much for coming and joining us today. You can see Ballistic at the King's Head Theatre in the Angel from the 27th of February until the 17th of March.